they've already disappointed me in that stage.
You're an animal abuser. I can't believe you did this. And it's like,
Oh no.
Mom.
Answering Am I the Whole Questions with Tiirous and Treasa.
Let's get into it. So I'm a 32-year-old male and my wife is a 33-year-old female. We have been married 8 years and have a 12-year-old son. About 6 years ago, my wife decided to go vegan. She was sent the documentary Dominion by a vegan friend of hers, and ever since then, she has said non-vegan food is revolting and refuses to eat it. After a long conversation, we agreed to go vegetarian and vegan in the house around her, which she was happy with. She also decided that our son should be vegan, which after seeing a dietitian, I also agreed with. Things have been fine since this arrangement until a few months ago when I began finding wrappers of non-vegan candy and burgers from McDonald's in my son's school bag, which he had been buying with his chore money. I had a conversation with my son and he confessed he felt lonely and excluded eating vegan around his friends, and they always had much better candy than he did and it wasn't fair. I decided I didn't want him to be spending his pocket money on snacks and throwing out the vegan snacks that we actually bought for him. I also know the way my wife feels about non-vegan products. So I began buying my son what he wanted on his way to football practice instead. Long story short, my wife recently found out what was going on and she completely flipped out. She called me an animal abuser, enabler, and a few other names and said I was corrupting our son. Now she is not speaking to me. Our son panicked and told her that I had bought all the snacks for him and he didn't know they weren't vegan. But I don't blame him for that. He just doesn't want to be in trouble with his mom. So is he the a-hole?
First of all, that's a bad son.
But he's 12.
Listen, he's 12. To flip is one thing, but to say I didn't know they were vegan, crazy. I don't think he's an asshole though.
I agree that I think it's kind of weird when your child is already 12 to say that, okay, now as a family we're just going vegan. Dad is not actually going fully vegan, but you are. Yeah. And because you're already in middle school at 12. You're like nearing high school.
12,
so you're like
12 is like 7th grade. Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. I feel like you should give your kids more autonomy at that age and like they should have some say in that decision.
Some sort of freedom.
If they made that agreement with you, like it wasn't like they agreed, like they were like, we're gonna go on this journey together, we're not gonna eat meat, then they're kind of like they've made a commitment, and so they're breaking that commitment. So that is a conversation to have, but more so than just going behind your wife's back. I do have a problem with going behind her back. Like I think you should confront her. It sounds like he's scared of her.
It sounds like they don't communicate well together, and like it sounds like she was like speaking to a wall. Because if he has to go around behind her back over something like snacks for the kid, which can easily be expressed, like, hey, he doesn't want to try vegan no more, he wants some chips or whatever he wants, let's try to give it to him. It sounds like they need to fix their talking problems. But
the reason I thought this would be a really good topic for us is because we already have this in our relationship where our diets are different. And also I come from the place of I was the child that wanted to eat differently than my family, and my family, like my parents, gave me the opportunity to change my diet because I was the one that wanted to explore being vegetarian, being vegan when I was in probably high school. That's why I feel like you should have those conversations with your kids. But on the other side of that, I don't want to alter my child's diet based on how I eat. But you do, and I don't mean to say that in a negative way.
Totally fine.
It's because mine is based differently than yours. Yours is like a religious belief system. Mine is more so kind of like hers, like based on documentaries and stuff like that, teaching me different information. I became vegan, vegetarian, back to vegan, to pescatarian, or back to vegetarian, to pescatarian, all these different things, and now I eat meat. So my child's diet does reflect what I eat for the most part, except for that she also doesn't eat what you don't eat. So if this happened, that I found out that our child was eating pork or shellfish, which are the two things that you don't eat, what would, or if we just found out, say together, because like I don't know how to say it, if we found out together this was happening with our child, or if I found out, how would you want me to approach this? Like, do you think you would be reasonable, or?
You should tell me, first of all. You should definitely tell me.
Of course, yeah, that's part.
But
you should hide it behind my back because I just don't want to know.
And I will end things. No, but reasonable is just to who's the group that's deciding what's reasonable.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, me finding out my kid is eating pork, right? So you reasonable would be like, okay, you want to eat it. I'm just not going to eat it. But to me, it might be like, hey, these are the reasons you're not going to eat this anymore. You shouldn't eat it anymore. And I expect you not to eat it anymore. You know, both are...
I also think it's different if you've been doing something since birth, and then they're trying to implement something when he's 12.
Yeah.
Because, like, he already knows what a McDonald's hamburger tastes like.
Yeah, he knows what other meat, real meat tastes like.
So you're telling him to change his belief system when he's already 12.
Honestly, it would be okay.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's harder.
Yeah, it's harder.
Like, it's a different situation.
And did you break it down as, we're going to go on this journey together as a family, what do you think? Or did you say, we're all doing this because I want to do this? Because then that's where it's like, you didn't sell him on anything.
Yeah.
You just told him we're doing something. And now he has no value system towards it.
Right.
I'm sure if you're like, hey, I want to try this, and I'll really like your support, he would still, maybe he still fail, but he'll put some effort into it, because it's like he would buy into the idea of, we're doing it as a family.
Right.
We all decided. You know what I mean?
Now, how would you fare if I said, and this is just all hypothetical because this isn't actually what I would do. I don't know what I would do at this point. But if, for whatever reason, what was going on, I approach you, our child really wants to eat shrimp. I personally love shrimp. So I don't eat pork at all, but I do have to eat some shellfish. I'm sorry. So anyways, our child just is desperate for some shrimp. They tried it with their friends, and like they have a hankering for it, and they have to keep getting shrimp like on like a weekly basis. Like every weekend they go to their friend's house and they just like chow down on some shrimp, and I find out.
First of all, there's worse things to find out that your kid's doing. Eating shrimp.
And like they profess to me like that it's like the best food they ever ate in their whole life, and that they feel like they're gonna go to bad places for this. But
what is this? Drugs?
but
what is this?
And they don't want to disappoint you, but they need their cravings to be met.
Well, they've already disappointed me.
What if I told you, like, I really think we should allow them to, like, explore? I feel like they should be able to, like, make their own decision at this point. We've given them all the information, and, like, let's give them a chance to make a decision.
Well, I feel like they've already disappointed me in that stage. Not because they ate shrimp or whatever, but you tried it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You had a different thought process now.
Yeah.
And I would hope that I'm the type of parent that my kids are comfortable enough to be like, hey, Dad, I know you don't eat shrimp. I know we don't eat shrimp, but I tried it. Hopefully they're not allergic somehow. But I tried it, and this is what I want to do, blah, 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 blah. And I'd hope they come to me like that, and I'd hope that I'd be able to, like, just not strangle them, but, you know, but not, like, be angry. That if they did it like that, I could see it be more feasible, where, like, I could be like, difference in generations, difference in time, blah, blah, blah. I could see where there's, like, a 10% chance of me not flipping out and, like, understanding where they're coming from. But if you've done it 1,000 times, you've eaten shrimp all week, every week for the last 7 weeks, right? Then you've been hiding it. You plan on hiding it forever.
Yeah, it's a lie.
Yeah, you plan on hiding it forever.
Yeah, that's what makes this bad for I feel like there's levels to everything, but I think that's what makes this dad a little bit in the wrong, because he's like literally has this secret in his marriage, and like you need to suck it up and like communicate with your wife.
He's probably tried and she's beating him up.
But let's see what some other commenters have thought. Okay, you can see.
I think the answer at this point would be, our son's old enough to decide what he wants to eat and what his dietary preferences are. If we put him into a situation where he feels he has to hide things from us, that's on us.
That's what we said pretty much.
Yeah.
He went on to say, if your wife is confronting him about this in any kind of intimidating way or trying to make him feel guilty with the same phrases she's using on you, I would prioritize your son and his needs and well-being. Stuff like this can cause lots of problems.
Yeah. There's no way you should be confronting your son as if he's the enemy.
Well, saying that he's an animal abuser.
Yeah, that's
like, come on, like,
that's bad. That's the worst way you can do it.
Yeah, if she's doing that, if she's like, you're an animal abuser, I can't believe you did this, and it's like,
oh no,
Mom, we literally ate meat like
for
6
years.
months ago. Like, calm yourself.
And honestly, if you're telling me I'm an animal abuser, you're making me feel like shame and disgust. Okay, cool. I'm already the worst thing, so now I don't have to go. I could just stay in this realm of being the worst. Well, this is bad as it gets. Mom yells at me, I'm gonna keep eating meat.
Like, on that same note, the next person literally says, like, she's just being a bully to everyone for her choice.
Yeah.
And forgetting that she ate meat for most of her life.
Yeah.
Now she wants everyone to do what she wants to do, and she's putting them in this position to lie by being a bully. So now we are also putting her in the wrong perspective, because we're only getting one side.
Yeah, for sure.
So she might not be like as crazy as he's making her seem, but based on what he's saying.
You're making her seem crazy. You were like, you're an animal abuser. Another thing, just because, let's say he folded once, right? Like he got snacks once, right? Or for this period, he's 12.
Yeah.
He's allowed to make a mistake, and you talk to him the right way and you explain, hey, do you still want to try this? Blah, 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 blah. I understand you're craving all these snacks. I understand all the stuff, but let's try to stick it out. Let's try to get back on the right path.
But that's if he originally had agreed to do this and it wasn't forced upon him. Like, again, I really do feel like actually this is someone saying this as someone who has an infant and not like a 12-year-old. But I feel like when a child is 12 years old, you have to give them some sort of autonomy. Like, they should be allowed to have some say over what they're putting in their body. Like, if they've eaten meat for 11 years and they don't want to give up meat, I feel like you can't force that. That's kind of weird.
There's a way to slowly but surely replace meat with something.
Oh yeah, for sure. You could say
surely.
In my house, I'm not making that.
Yeah.
So when you're home, you're going to this is the food I'm going to serve you. Totally makes sense, because that's your home, your rules. But to say you're an animal abuser because you're, it's just
animal abuser is one level too high.
Yeah.
I feel like she could have said anything other than that.
Yeah.
And he would have been okay.
I feel like we covered that pretty thoroughly. Check out this next video where we are going to be talking about having a fully child-free wedding and whether or not we agree or disagree, because we got thoughts.
Yeah, thoughts for sure.
Before we even get into it.
I just heard the title for the first time and I was like, what?
But it's way, way worse than just that. I previewed this one and it's not really about that. So check out the next video.